There we go. Oh, good. I'm going to open up two things. So, welcome to SEO this week. SIA members, welcome to the AMA. Last week I went over my initial thoughts on Corey's Topical Authority course. I went through it. Kind of want to give you my final thoughts on the course. Do I think you should get it? Some ideas that I got out of it, that kind of stuff. All of you will get to see a glimpse of my notes today. And then I'll clean up my notes and then give the clean up version to the SIA members just so they have it. Because I'm going to do a lot of testing based off of what Corey talked about. I think that would be the responsible thing to do, right? Not going to be bashing somebody's course or anything like that. Just want to point out my thoughts and what I got out of it, and then some testing stuff that could lead to some cool discoveries, or it might not lead to nothing. Who knows? So we'll go with that, and then we'll do the Q&A part, and then we'll call it a day. That should cover us out pretty good, though. So I need to find where I left off. Lesson 40. Actually, I just did the lesson. I just looked at the intro last time, didn't I? I don't think I even looked at my notes last time. So this time, what we'll do is look over this real quick. This is the course. I showed you guys the back end last time. You know that there's 85 videos and then a couple other things here. And last time we talked, I think I watched up to video 40 or somewhere in this range. This weekend, I finished the remainder of the videos, and raw first impression, I could have skipped watching videos 40 through 70, 40 through 80. I mean, they're just a rehash of him going through a topical map that he did. He just talking about, I picked this keyword and I did this, and there is some resemblance of why he did what he did, but for the most part, it's just him talking about him going through this process of examining each of the parts of this topical map that he created. The headings for the videos, I'll just click ones, bring it up better, like this extractive summary, whatever. Yeah, that's not anything at all what he's talking about. If anything, he might mention extractive summary, but it won't be in this video. It'll be in the next one. And it's like the titles are all off on a video route. And a lot of this, like here's another one: semantic content, item template brief, micro contents, and main contents. So all of this is all, like I said last week, it's academic talk applied to basic foundational functions of search engine optimization, on-page optimization, main body of the content, FAQ section, putting that all together, writing it in a hierarchical order that makes sense for the reader and for the search engines to analyze the topics, and then rinse, repeat for each page. I even broke it down even further in one of my notes. Let me see if I can find it. It's on the last page, I think, but I'll show it. It's really, the query is the question. So whatever your search engine is, that's, you turn that query into a question, you write the answer to the question, and then you provide evidence to back it up. Rinse, repeat, and that's essentially this concept that he's teaching. And he's using it, contextual connections, that's interlinking. Bridges, it's, connecting two sentences. So if I end a paragraph with a sentence and then the next leading paragraph picks up where that last thought came off, and then now I have a bridge, right? Large language models and algorithms, he just went over to a couple of them that are out there and just rehash some information that you can essentially search for on Twitter or your favorite social media thing. And then here's, at the end of the day, the whole thing was from what I was expecting versus what I got. I would argue that it was probably a disappointment and going to lead into 2 years of watching him talk, watching him present his data and information and stuff, and getting excited and this whole buildup, and then you get it and you're like, yeah. It's just kind of the nature when you build yourself, or you build your expectations before you get the actual results, right? The videos that I was looking forward to, 81, 82, 83, and 4 is about, 81, 82, and 83 was the topical map creation. How do I create the topical map? Where do I come up with the keywords? What are my thought processes when I'm writing the titles? What are my thought processes when I'm writing the URLs? Not one damn piece of that information is in any of those videos. All it is a video of him filling out a spreadsheet with keyword information. No idea whatsoever where it comes from, or he's doing his research. No one knows how he's looking at nodes and etc. It's just a video literally of him filling out a spreadsheet. And then he's got a off-track audio overlays on it. Complete fucking waste of time. I was not to say any clearer than that. That's what that was. Those last 5 videos where I was excited, looking forward to, complete waste of time. These last 2, he's going over an article again. He shows these topical maps. We spent 80 videos going over this topical map for this water website that he's got. And then these last 2 go over the articles. In the articles, the writer identifies the question, answers the question directly, and provides a resource where I found that answer, right? Or cites it. And then in the video, he talks like he's added all this extra stuff to it and I'm using air quotes, you can't see me, but all this extra crap to it in order to do connections and establish the authority and make the semantic relevance for the query network. Query network is the list of keywords. And it's also trash. If you identify a question, answer the question directly, the next sentence, cite the source where you answer the question. If the first question generates any other questions, do that again in the paragraphs underneath the question that's answered in the heading, and then move on to your next heading. That's his thing. And if you write that in that process, you've built all your connections and stuff. And then he talks about, like, his topic is water, right? So the writer naturally used writer plenty of times because he's talking about water and he's answering questions about water. And then he presented it as if, look, I had them add extra instances of water to connect the top entity to all these questions. If you just write naturally, you are going to do that all on its own. So this, as a whole, am I upset I spent $1,000 on it? Not necessarily. I think it was a good investment. And I think that once I go over the notes, you'll kind of see why. But if you don't have $1,000 to just spend on a course to hear someone's ideas and look for test ideas, I wouldn't buy this. I just don't think that it's all that in a bag of chips. It does, for me, connect a couple things. I think we talked about this last time, where it connects the academic side of search engine optimization. If you're a reader of patents, or you're a reader of old Bill Schlosky posts, or you're a reader of Corey, you can take what he's saying and then apply it to actual real world definitions and stuff. Take that academic stuff and apply it to your to your real world practical knowledge of things, and kind of be able to go, oh, I get what he's saying, right? And this was ultimately, I think, the Corey translator course, because now you have access to his glossary, and the words that he's using, and then the connections of things that he's doing with his glossary of thing versus what we know is in those essentially plain English terms. And you can kind of see that better. And if you do read patents and stuff, you can see some of these pattern words, and you have a better understanding of what's going on, right? Which makes complete and total sense to me, is putting that together. So I guess in the short run, you essentially pay $1,000 to learn how to better understand the research papers and the patent documents that are presented on search engine optimization from a technical and / academic point of view, and then go, how do I use this for real world stuff, which is where the testing stuff comes in. So all in all, not mad at all that I spent the money for it. It's just, I mean, at the end of the day, would I recommend you do that? And the answer is, if you're going to do testing and you're reading patents and you don't have any idea whatsoever about context and hierarchies of headings and writing in an outline, for example, then you'll get some use out of this. But if you want to know how to build a topical map like Corey building it, you're not going to, it's not here. It's not here. All right. So government notes. I actually got 36 pages of notes. 36 pages on my remarkable, right? So you get there's the introduction, the framework. I think I know we went over a bunch of this, so I'm going to fly through a lot of it. All right. So query semantics, keywords and their relationships to each other. Queries, a lot of the ideas about how queries relate. Like you have these queries and these users, and these, users 1 and 2 are, searching for different things, and then Google combines them because now the queries are related, and that's all in there. That was interesting. Topical maps created for each central entity. That's if you're doing a brand. So he creating these topical maps for each, like if it was digital marketing, he creates a topical map for SEO, a topical map PPC, topical map for buying, email buying, topical map for email, and then builds out these big ass topical maps that are essentially representative of 100 pages each, plus or minus, depending on what he's doing. And each one of those 100-page pages has an article that's probably 3,000 to 5,000 words long, at least, literally, based off of the examples that he's showing. It talks about some central search intent, central entities. Let's see what else in here. You guys are gonna have to pause. I'm not going over everything in here. Some more terms: central entity, central search intent, site-wide engrams, site-wide phrases. This is those things are the things that connect everything up. So central entity, central search intent, SEO, and then what is the intent of that search for SEO, for example? Source context, central entity. Yeah, here's the examples. So source context, selling diet programs. Central entity is wellness. Central search intent is personal development, lifestyle improvement. And then you're putting all those together in considerations when he's building. I got a prompt. This is a good prompt. Maybe you guys can write it down. Write a good semantic title tag for a web page about German religion. Just replace your keyword in there. Give me 3 options with a max of 60 characters. That prompt actually worked out pretty decent. I thought of that as he was doing a course. And then give 10 sub attributes about this. So if you're doing you can do this you do the title tag prompt to get your title, and then you do the sub aptitudes and to get your headings. And there you go. Let's see, processed raw prompt, good semantic tag. Nope, that's different. Let's same one. URL structure. Don't use verbs in your URL structure, i.e. in. He's saying don't use those in your URLs. That was I kind of do that anyway. Clean that up. Here he's saying if in your meta description, kind of write a reference to the title and to the things that you have in your H2s when you're writing your meta description. That kind of makes sense to me. I mean, Google rewrites most of those anyway, so character length is not as important as it used to be. So, I mean, if it takes you a little bit, 400 characters versus 260 or whatever that is, or 159, 160, but whatever. If you write the meta description long to address those headings, that's fine. And basically what you're doing is creating the path. This is where my page is going, starting here at the title and going to the H tags, etc., to write your meta description. That's good. Right. Alternative pages. So if you do a page about safest cities, in the FAQ section, address dangerous cities, and then do a page about dangerous cities in FAQ section, address safest cities, and then interlink those two. That's what that is. Short URLs, nodes, publication dates, rules. Don't use patterns. Don't publish the same amount of articles at the same time, and don't publish during core updates. I don't know about the whole. I like this idea. Essentially, what he's doing is he's instead of publishing every Monday at 10, for example, he's just randomizing it. So that's good. Lesson 12, that was him going over the colors. I think I went over most of this. Contextual vector is the headings. So he calls them contextual vector. It's your headings. Your contextual flow is how the headings are structured. And contextual network is a group of your headings. Question. I think I did this. Contextual coverage, talked about that. I'm going to skip over to 41. In the article, right about the introduction. In the introduction, this one's interesting. You summarize the entire article. So instead of how you would normally go, this is my conclusion. This is my my hypothesis. And I'm going to detail my hypothesis and the arguments to do that in my headings. And then in the conclusion, I roll it all up. Here he's actually saying you should just summarize, roll it all up in the headings. So his headings are actually after the H1, that first introduction paragraph or introduction block is actually pretty detailed. And then he moves on to the articles. The FAQ section. Yeah, here's where the first instance of provide evidence, answer in the FAQ section, answer the question with certainty in the first sentence, and then provide evidence in the second sentence. And that message pretty much carried across to the rest of these. 3 keyword lists, primary keywords you want to rank for. The authority site that is you're also ranking for those keywords, and then the number 1 ranking site for that specific target term. And then he has those 3 keyword lists together, and that's how he comes up with his headings. Use headings and keep everything subtopics and subtopics together. Term saturation, a point at which adding more instances of a term makes us no difference. That's a concept he was talking about in video 48. However, if you follow along, we've done those keyword tests where you had 90% keyword density ranking number 1 for a term. So I don't think term saturation is a thing. But I'll retest the keyword density test and we'll see. Yeah, he makes a claim that positive language in scientific articles will make you rank better. So instead of, if you're citing, like you're in medicine or whatever, you just talk about the benefits of benefits, positives, helped, those kind of terms, those positive words, and then limit your negative words like hurt, those negative type of descriptors. He's saying that'll help you rank better. I don't know about that. It's interesting. Definitely an idea to test. He did recommend talk about using Word2Vec. I didn't look it up. I meant to look it up before the show. Word2Vec. It's familiar. I think I've seen it before. Natural language processing. There's TensorFlow.org. There's a Word2Vec thing on there. Let's see. Calls a page a context network heading contextual vectors. I mean, a page is a context network. Headings are contextual vectors. Just annotation text is words around anchor text. That you see, my notes got really light now. Let's see. Sequence modeling. I got a prompt for you guys for sequence modeling. I think you'll like. Use unique engrams to show your authority. So you're sending essentially 3-4 word phrases in engram and semantics. Remember a couple of videos ago we talked about that. Saying use unique ones, and then that'll make you an authority. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm going to test that with the semantic stuff we do. Text Optimizer was a Chrome extension he recommended. I looked at it. It's essentially if you're using like a surfer phrase in links or whatever, you don't need that. And there's some complaints on it. AI words to create a list of terms that will follow another word. Yes. So let me go over the sequence modeling, and I have it in I got to change the screen. So here's the idea. So essentially you're looking, this is large language model, right? So it doesn't autocomplete and it's looking for word associations. And if you ask me this, then it builds a content based off of it. So given the word water, quotes, let me cap booting this up, create a list of words most commonly expected to be used immediately after it. So now I have phrases, I have semantic words: bottle, tap, supply, source, conservation, purification. If I wanted to, I'd add it. So water bottle, water tap, water supply, water source. Now I have 2-word engrams, right? And then another one is given the word water, use sequence modeling, create a list of words commonly found to be used before it: drinking water, clean water, fresh water, bottled water, tap water. So if the idea of semantics is true, I should be able to copy these. There's 15 and another 15. Be able to copy those and then put those words in content and have a semantically relevant piece of content, right? If the theory is correct. Giving the word water, using sequence modeling, create a list of phrases that combine the most commonly used words before and after. For example, clean water, conservation. Because I talked about water here, I gave it an example. So clean water supply, drinking water source, fresh water, top water, and it made those semantic 3-word engrams. I could actually, if I wanted to, you could probably just keep going and get like another 15. Then you have a good set. The same thing for another one. I just skipped the teaching part, and I, given the word methadone, use sequencing model, create a list of phrases that combine the most commonly words before and after. And then I get all these words about methadone. Now, using those phrases as headings, create an article outline, and it put everything in order And there's, H1, H2, H1. This is my introduction. I guess I would have to make a title. H2, 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 H3s. And I have essentially a semantically relevant article. And I actually did another one where I had it write the article based off of this outline, and it came out nice. I think I used GPT. Yeah, I used 3.5. I'd recommend GPT-4. Your articles will get a little bit shorter, but I think they're almost a little bit better too. So try those prompts out. I think you'll like those prompts and get something out of them. I don't even think you guys got to see those prompts. Stupid. There. I'm going to show them again. Given the word water, create a list of words most commonly expected to be used immediately after it. Given the word water, using sequence modeling, create a list of words most commonly found to be used before it. Given the word water, using sequence modeling, create a list of phrases that combine the most commonly used words before and after water. All right. And then use those phrases as headings to create an article outline. And then you can go write an article about that using that outline, and it'll knock it all out for you. Okay, cool. All right, so we're back at this. Add relevant terms to images and charts. If you remember was it Rocks? No, it was SEO Rockstars when Lisa Doody mentioned creating micro infographics. He's essentially creating micro infographics, and adding the words that he's using in his articles in the micro infographics to build relevance to the page. He claims font size and weight make a difference in rankings. Like if your H2s are bigger than your H1s, I think we've tested that. I'm pretty sure that's a dud, but I mean, we'll test it again. If you're writing in your money, your life, use scientific or academic or researcher type, authority type terms to indicate quality. It's an interesting concept that have to be tested. That had to be a real life test, though, I'm afraid. And you can't do that with a single variable test build. You have to actually try it out and see if it works for you kind of tests. I think that's where that's going to be. Cool Chrome extension. I checked it out. It's multi-search. It's called multi-search. It's a Chrome extension, and essentially you open a page up, and if you're looking for strings, or like if you want to test the sequence modeling prompt out, you find a couple articles and then have the AI make the sequence modeling thing. And you could take each one of those n-grams and put them into multi-search, and it'll highlight the occurrences on the page. That is pretty cool. He's using that. So if he asks a question that has a specific n-gram for that heading, like there's a question on, I don't know, irrigation. And then there's another question on drainage. He makes sure that he only covers irrigation in the irrigation section, and he only covers drainage in the drainage section. And he uses that plugin to make sure that the authors did that. That's pretty interesting. Let's see. He's saying when you're citing things inside of your articles, he mentions don't use resource lists. Everything that I've seen in the real world is contradictory to that, but hey, whatever, it's his method, right? So he says if you're going to cite articles, do it in the article. So Clint Butler, conducted a study on H1 tags and found that they are the third most valuable optimization point in SEO. That's how you would cite it. Or you can add the title of the study. Clint Butler conducted a study entitled H1 tags test and found that blah, blah, blah. And that's how you cite inside your articles. So using keywords like study, research, and researchers, he claims increases the authority or the I guess it would be an EAT thing if you're an EAT fan. This is interesting. I liked answer a question should be in the same format. So can you learn something? Yes, you can learn something, right? So if will your hair fall out or you get hairy palms if you, no, you know that one. Could you lose all your money in the lottery? Yes, you could lose all your money in the lottery, and then you provide your evidence after that kind of thing. That seems kind of intuitive. Answer the question in the first sentence, cite the source in the second. He went over that multiple times. I think it's pretty much the basics of his article writing. Answer the question, cite the source, use numbers. Another video. Use different measurements. So instead of just ounces, use pounds, cups, ounces, whatever. If there's different ways to look at it to measure a thing, cite different measurement units in your article to increase the reach of that thing. Benefits of a thing, evidence. I went over that again. And then he was going over the topical maps creation. Topic, this is the website is essentially the topic, keywords, the title, the URL, the meta description, the image URL, the image alt, publication date, and was it published, yes or no? That's his topical map. And then the content brief is for the pages. It's the headings, which he calls contextual vectors, the heading tags, which he calls contextual hierarchy, the article methodology. Hey, author, this is how I want you to write this section. And then the article text, which he calls anchor text, which he calls the contextual bridge, which is the internal links, the anchor text for your internal links. And that's the content brief. And that's it. I mean, that's, again, I wasn't overstating how not valuable those last 40 videos were. To me, I got essentially answer the question in the first sentence directly, provide evidence in the second section, and use numbers where possible, interlink or use images to enhance the quality of your content or the relevance of the content, and make sure everything is in a logical order. There you go. Just summed up that entire course for you. That's it. That's all I got. All right. Came to the YouTube chat, and this is Harry Palms. Thanks, Paul. All righty. So that's it. Hopefully you guys get something out of that. If you're at SIA, like I said, I'll give you guys all the raw notes, and then after I go through them again and summarize it, I'll give you my final notes and essentially what I got out of it, what I got out of the course. But it was interesting, worth the money. Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to get some ideas out of it that are useful. It was worth the money for me because I do testing and stuff. If you're looking for a new system to, order content or write out the outline of a site and then do your content briefs and stuff, I think you're wasting your time with this course. Because it's not, this is how I did it. This is how I built the content brief. It's just literally him filling in a spreadsheet. So that sucks. Alrighty, so let's get on to questions. Last 20 minutes show. So let's see, Tanya, when you're making a website for a local service that operates in 100 different areas, Ahrefs and Google show keywords for the service in 70 areas, will you still make pages for the other 30? Yes. Ahrefs and Google, Ahrefs one is only a bot, and they do the keyword search based off of how the crawlers working at stuff and what people are putting in there and etc. And then Google shows keywords and keyword data based off of ads, and where they might tell you there's no search volume in an area, you go specifically into that area and actually run PPC or whatever, you find that there is search volume. So if you have a business and it's operating in 100 different areas, and you have a page for each of those 100 areas. How do you feel about pages that get very small traffic, but you can't see the keywords they're ranking for and good? Or I use them. I have them. If it's getting traffic, then it's got value. If it's getting traffic and then getting conversions, it's got even more value. Who gives a shit what Search Consort says? What are the amount of pages stuck in crawl means to you on a large website? Obviously, it means that the content is probably got no backlinks. The internal linking is no good, or it's got no external backlinks. And Google's like, if you don't give a shit about it, and no one else gives a shit about it, we don't give a shit about it either. So they'll just crawl it and they won't index it. Let's see, Boris, thank you so much for sharing that information. I was really confused about that course. It's something innovative that I don't know, and I was considering to invest time and money. Appreciate it. Yep, my pleasure. Again, if you're a patent reader and you want to bridge the academic side with the practical side, I think this is a good course. Even ignoring that he didn't really talk about building these topical maps, is the pairing of those to the academic terms and the real world terms might be useful for you if you are looking to expand into reading patents, etc. I don't necessarily think it's needed to know. I mean, you got AI, the Harpa Chrome extension, you open that up, have it summarize a patent page for you. You got chat PDF I showed you guys last week. You can have it summarize that stuff for you. But I mean, you can get a good jump on the academic stuff if you get this course. So it's not a total loss. Boris, Clint, what's your best strategy to rank a location page? Do you do anything different for a dedicated location page backlink? I mean, that's a whole show. The short version is I build location pages using templates, city modifiers that are optimized for the primary head term, and then build backlinks and local schema, do all that stuff. Let's see, it's Tanya and Dean chatting it up. What makes you think all those things in the course are anything but theoretical blah, and search engines actually doing the stuff? What makes me think it, Tanya, is I test. So as I said in the beginning, I don't know if they're using any of it. Google clearly can't read, but it can play word association games. It can do math with words. It can check keyword density. It can check for entities. It can check for common related terms that are always used, or AKA LSI words, etc. So that's what makes me think that all that theoretical blah could potentially be being used, and that's what testing is for. Let's see, where else we at? Jay, if I have a multi-store differentiated with hreflang, can I use local business schema or address within the organization schema to improve the rate of indexing? There is no correlation between schema and the rate of indexing. So you could test it. If you have a multiple location store, you can put organization schema on it, and then you can do some web page schema. and do about and mentions, and then mention the specific locations and stuff. But again, there's no correlation between schema being on a page and indexing. Boris, I have a big e-com client with a funny ERP that communicates with the website when the product is out of stock. Categories constantly change. What do you think? Is that too bad? If the categories, like if the products drop, I wouldn't drop the category pages, but I would. You can do that. What's it? 410 temporary gone is what Ted recommended. But I wouldn't do that with the category pages. I'd leave those categories there and alone. And talking about that products. If there's no products, then there's no products. At least you're talking about that, and the ranking stays. If you're dropping and 404ing products after they go out of stock and stuff, then you essentially got to start over when the products come back. So I would not do that 410, 404 thing to category pages. Product pages, fine. Category pages, no. Let's see. Christoph, can you give us a few top level scenarios and basic setups you would use SEO autopilot? I would, but I'm gonna make a course on it. I was gonna do the course sooner, but SEO Neo, the new version of SEO autopilot, is coming out, and supposedly, according to Elias, I'll have access to that tomorrow. And then I'll look at that, see how much is different, and then I'm going to make that whole link building course on how to use that tool. I'm going to do it also with GSA. I'm not showing you how to, I'm not giving you, oh, this is my link building method and you're going to rank and it's going to be wonderful. I'm going to show you how to use the software. I'll give you some ideas and then let you guys encourage you, as I always do, to test and find your own way along with those softwares, right? If you're using autopilot now and you just don't want to wait for Neo, there's a DAS diagram in there. Run that, test it. Don't point it at your website yet until you're comfortable using SEO autopilot. The social bookmarks, high quality. Those are really easy to use. Titles, that's good referring domains thing. But yeah, just it's at the end of the day, I could give you all my diagrams. I could tell you all kinds of stuff about it, but it's going to be, it might not work for you, right? Because what works for you might not work for me, where the testing comes. Let's see. Clint, can you suggest a plugin that can generate multiple pages, let's say for the purpose of the PBN? There's a bunch of those mass page builders. There's a bunch of, was it WP automatic? Based off of feeds. Yeah, I don't really have a favorite of those. For my PBNs, I think we use them so much, it's not really a big deal for a plugin. The only hassle is finding a good host and putting them on that has FTP access to make it a little bit easier, but that's just for me, right? So if you're using WordPress and you use an RSS feed, find to populate your pages, to build your site, you can use a WP automatic thing to syndicate. There was a message from Google now, if you're going to syndicate people's content, that you should, instead of using the canonical like they directed in the first place, that you had no index your copy of it. How that works for a PBN, I wouldn't. That'd be really interesting to test, right? Because if you're using a PBN if you're just using it solely for backlinks and stuff, then you're not going to want to know. I guess no indexing is necessarily not going to hurt, because if Google's still crawling it and still giving credit for the backlink, like the testing shows, whether it has rankings for traffic and traffic, then necessarily won't be all that big of a deal. But if your PBN is making money, then that could be an issue. So they didn't go into how they're going to chase that out, though. So we'll see. Christoph, is it worth sending autopilot social links and pointing to them? I did it, Christoph, but I don't. I mean, there's all of those PR services all have those API generated syndications. You know what I'm talking about, like Market and Watt. What was it? It wasn't a couple of examples. But anyway, you can look at it and you can see that it's clearly an API. I don't waste my time with most of those. I will look and see which ones are ranking after it's released, and then you can build some backlinks to those because you want those to stay in there and keep out. And then the social links for that are good for that. And remember also, building links to those is essentially you're improving the possibility of indexing rank. You're improving the chance of the crawl, and then you're increasing the actual value that page has, because the domain, just because a domain authority is 98, the page might not have any power for you at all. So you're increasing the power of that backlink that's pointing to your website. So in that situation, it's valuable to do that. So I generally do that if I'm sending to PR. I won't send them to all of them. Maybe like 10, the 10 best or whatever. That's how I handle that. Let's see. Dean was in there answering all kinds of questions. Appreciate you, Dean. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Let's see. Can you mention again about the course release? Yeah, I'll let everyone know when that comes out. I'm doing Cora first. If Ted ever releases this last version, I can finish it. And I don't want to release it now because one, not everyone is using the beta, and two, some of what I would argue are the best parts of Cora were broken in the beta in the versions that I have now. So once he gets those working, then I'll throw it all together. The SIA people will get that first, and then I'll release it on What Ranks. And you can buy that off individually. And then from there, I'll move into the on-page, my on-page course. It's going to be, I'm debating if I want to go like newbie. I haven't decided yet. I think newbie all the way to advanced would be the best approach to get to provide the most value for everybody, right? Because not everybody's on the same skill level. So newbie all the way to advanced would probably be the best approach for that on-page course. And then I'll roll right into link building. And that link building will be some of the tools, some methods, that kind of stuff. But I won't talk about, and I'll talk about ways to examine structures. Like if you're an SIA or been to conferences, you've seen my tiered link building structure, how I do that. And then you've heard me talk about my use of anchor text and my way the reason I choose to select that. And so that'll be in the link building course, and then I got to redo the schema course, and the schema course is still 100% totally valid. I mean, I recorded that well over a year ago now, and it's still valid today. Like you can still take that course and do it today. However, it's fucking boring. And the reason why it's boring, and I know it's boring because I'm learning coding and I'm watching coding videos, and that course is coding videos. So it is boring. So what I'm going to do is make a new, it's not necessarily a new version, but there's going to be path 1, learn the coding aspect of it, and then path 2, here's the template. And this is why I'm using that template, here's that Or I'll just open the template and go, this is why I use these parts, and make some of those videos a little bit shorter, and then you'll have the templates that you can use. So you can kind of pick your pose in the route that goes through. And I think that'll just kind of round out what I'm doing. And then after that, it'll be expanding on the over the shoulders for the SIA folks. If you're in SIA, you got the Digitaleer over the shoulder, and you got my affiliate website over the shoulder. And then I'll probably do another one on directories. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I know I will, because I'm coming up with a new kind of thing to do for directories, and I think it'll be pretty cool regardless of the niche you're in. So especially if you want to just focus on a single state, you can just own the directory for that state, for that niche, and do a bunch of different things with it. And that's where the Core course and some of the stuff that I got from Jimmy Kelly and the semantic studying that I'm doing and all that stuff is going to all pay off in that directory thing, because it is going to be essentially an information-based model. And the information-based model is essentially what's feeding AI. So it'll be a model that can go on in perpetuity for information-based websites who are going to eventually be competing with the AI stuff. But I think it'll work out for everybody. I think it'll be good content. So that's the whole plan there, Boris. I'm not going to be like Corey and make you wait 2 years, but you are going to have to wait. I'm sorry. All right, let's get one more time. I don't see any more questions. One more time. Categories change, not because products disappear and become 404, but because they get out of stock mark and go, let's say, page 10. Yeah, pagination, I would not, depending on your product thing, but if it's 10 pages of 404 products, that's fine. You're still listing the products on those category pages. There's plenty of reasons. If you know that those products are never coming back, then you probably want to just delete them in 404 them. Or if they are coming back, then keep them on the out of stock thing, and then create a mailing list. You want to get notified when X is back in stock, and you can create a segmented list based off of each of those categories, and then one overall total list. So you have the list for the brand, and then you have this segmented list for the categories. And as products become available in those categories, people that are in that segment will get notified. That's a good way to handle that. Dean Davis, why are you learning coding? Software is a good business model these days. And I have a lot of ideas for software. Rank Gear is a good example of that. We're doing a plugin. I don't want to throw the beans on that plugin, but that one's coming out for Rank Gear, and we're expanding things you can do with Rank Gear now. And I like and then the idea of being able to build my own tools is cool. So that's why I'm learning Python. I like the idea of building my own software that does specialized things. So that's why I was learning a little bit of Java. Java got a little inundating for me. I'm not gonna lie, just kind of pushed out on that. And that's why I'm working on Python right now. Python and APIs is awesome, and stuff that we're doing. It's really cool to do that. So I think it's a smart investment in the future. Makes sense. I'm not getting out of SEO, not despite all the SEO is dead and all that bullshit everyone's talking about with AI. I think AI is it's another opportunity. And I think in order to best take advantage of my knowledge in search, my knowledge in marketing, and then my future knowledge in coding and be able to combine that, I'll be pretty adaptable for anything that AI throws our way, I would think. So that's why I'm doing it. Boris, but what do you think of pagination? My best competitor puts canonical pointing to page one. I would do the same, especially if the content, the main heading content, the content that's relevant about that category is used on all of those pages. I would have the canonical, the page 1T. I'm gonna get you something killer. I appreciate it, Dean. Anything you can do would help, man. I mean, that's, to me, it's like learning another language. Literally, it is learning another language, right? But um, I think what holds me back is because I am still doing a lot of search engine optimization. I am doing still a lot of team management. I don't get to have like this everyday coding hour, and I got to figure out some way to plan that into my days from now on, where I'm just doing an hour of coding so I can get better at it and the thought processes behind it. And, I have this problem, the problem X, and I want to solve it with Python. And then how do I do that? And I got a guy that he used to work with me at an agency. He went on to bigger and better things, but I still talk to him almost on a daily basis. And the kid is so, here's this thing, here's what I want to do. And then he come back to me in like an hour with a Python script that does it. And I think this is awesome. Right. And then being able to look at his code and understand that, is helping me for sure. But I'm looking forward to being able to do that myself too. All righty. So that's been an hour, YouTubes. I appreciate all of you coming, watching live. I talked about the significant links video, and I totally forgot. I'm a horrible person. So I think next week we'll do significant links, interlinking with structures, mirroring your silo structures, and mirroring your internal linking with significant link schema next week. So that's in the books. You've heard me say it. So we will do that for the next episode. And with that, I appreciate you all. If you get the opportunity, share the video. If not already, you're watching live, you're probably already subscribed. But if you're watching recordings, subscribe, like the videos, and hit the notification bells if you want such. Don't worry, I don't beat you up with 5,000 videos a month. Lucky if I do one, one a week. And support the channel. I appreciate y'all. See you next week.